Welcome back to Silent Hill Downpour. This is Schmubbler. I'm going to be taking you through the surprise ending for this run. So let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, and go. And the surprise ending is basically just this game's version of the traditional joke ending that every other Silent Hill game has. In my opinion, surprise ending is actually one of the better ones done too. Which, when you think about it, is quite surprising considering it's the one well done part of this game. So, Downpour is, of the mainline games at least, the black sheep of the franchise, and for good reason. Let me go ahead and preface this with saying that I do myself find quite a bit of enjoyment with this game, but there's just so many
all right, Murphy, it's
bad
all set.
things in this game.
Make it quick, huh?
This is not a well-designed game. And there will be plenty of opportunities for me to show all of that here in this video, just because, you know, this is one of those games that doesn't really have any major skips. It's just
all yours now.
optimizing what we can and playing through the game as intended for the most part as quickly as possible. So let's get started with our little tutorial here. Got to turn on a few showers to fog up the cameras, as we do not want anyone to see what we are about to do.
When you guys are running a shower, the steam fogs up the cameras so bad.
So if you're squeamish, you might want to look away for the next about 2 minutes, because there is some gratuitous violence to start this game out, and while it does have actual meaning for the plot, we don't figure out why until most of the way through the game. It's really just shock value to try to sell the whole playing as a criminal aspect that Vatra advertised when this game was being developed.
What the hell's going on? Where's Sewell?
But to put it long story short, this guy's our old neighbor Napier, and he kidnapped our son on his way home from school one day, molested him, and dumped him in the lake behind our house. So this
You don't recognize me, do you?
leads us to getting ourselves in prison to be in the same place as him and getting a little bit of revenge.
We used to be neighbors.
Guards! Guards, open the goddamn door! Help somebody! This is a violation of my rights. Who the hell do you think you are? When I talk to the warden, I'm...
No one's listening.
Help! Jesus, help me!
So this part, we're gonna have to go through a few waves of combat tutorial. This actually has a little bit of RNG involved with it, because each wave of attacks can take a random number of hits to move on. The first one always takes 6, but these next two take anywhere from 4 to 6. So that was 5, that was average. Let's see how the fists go. 4, oh right, that was good. And that's all the gameplay that we have for about the first 12 minutes of the game. We have one other section where we're just going to be walking forward, and that's it. But this game has so many cutscenes, and you can't skip any of them. You can pause during them, because you don't want to miss any of this goodness.
Why?
You know
But-
exactly why.
Regardless of what you do, there is currently no way to skip any cutscenes.
Did I wake you, Pendleton?
So if you were ever curious about what the story of Downpour is, you're in luck. Because you'll see the whole thing right here.
Come on, rise and shine, Cupcake. You know the drill. Guess today's a big day, huh? Tell you the truth, I'm sort of sorry to see you go. Prisoner secure. Open 302B. Transfer.
I love how they said that he's prisoner 302B. But his outfit says he's prisoner 273A. Also, you'll see the RS on his jumpsuit too. That stands for Ryle State Prison, which is where we're currently at. We're being transferred away from. Here in a little bit, we're going to see a bunch of other prisoners that are getting transferred. We're going to be in a line getting into the bus. We're the only ones that have RS on our jumpsuit. Everyone else has a different combination of initials. That guy didn't even have numbers. I don't usually look to the side, so I don't really get to see this. But, yeah. As long as you're relatively holding forward, you're gonna walk through here.
Well, guess this is it. No fond farewell? You gonna miss us?
Not even a little.
Give it a couple of days at Wayside Max. I bet you'll start to miss this place after all. 'Cause we sure are gonna miss you. Move them out!
Another interesting little tidbit. I don't think any of the other games really give you a location of where Silent Hill is, but Sewell's uniform right there, the patch on the side, says that Ryle State is in Maine. So we're not 100% sure that it's in Maine in this game, but we at least know that it's in New England area. Just like all the old Stephen King novels.
All yours now, sugar.
Let's get this done.
Yeah. All right. You heard the lady? Mount up.
Here comes the fan favorite part.
What we got here?
Pendleton. Get on the bus.
That line right there, largely thanks to an Eternal Enigma, has become a huge meme in the community. And honestly, there's a lot of goofy lines in this game. This, I would say, is the most quotable Silent Hill game you can find. And not in a good way. There's, yeah. I can't really say much more than that. But there's a lot of goofy lines, especially from Murphy, that are just, chef's kiss. In this scene, every time I see it, it always makes me think back to those old that old haunted car commercial jump scare video. I swear that's the exact same curve, the exact same angle looking down from the mountaintop. If you pay close attention, you'll see a lot of repeated assets in this game
Tell
too.
me something, puta.
That flashback showed
what I heard about
Murphy's house and neighborhood and his son.
Shut the hell up!
There's a mini quest
Güero.
I said lock it up, damn it!
in this game where you go and splice together some film reels and go into the movie to solve a puzzle. And that movie puts you right on that street corner, and you end up going inside Murphy's old house. Although I don't think that it's actually supposed to be Murphy's old house. Anyway, rip to everybody on board that bus. But we finally get to play the game.
Okay, think. Find the highway. Put some ground between yourself and the bus. Hello? Can anyone hear me?
So they're going to try their best to introduce us to as many mechanics as they possibly can to start off. The first one being the balancing mechanic, and yeah, this is actually really easy to mess up and die. I have had runs die to this, simply because the game changes Murphy's momentum just whenever it feels like it, basically. So you can be leaning all the way one way and be trying to counterbalance it, and then the game just throws you to the other side and you die because you're holding the wrong direction at that point. Well, I hope you enjoyed your 30
That's
seconds
far
of gameplay, because now it's another cutscene.
Get your ass down on the ground now. Hands where I can see them. Do it.
Take it easy. I'm not going anywhere.
I said on the ground now.
Careful, Ann, don't slip.
I was just looking for help.
And you just happen to lose your cuffs in the process?
You know, it
Save the
would probably
bullshit.
help if you put the gun down and focused on your feet. See, you gotta be careful.
This is stupid. I'll meet you back down at the bus, okay? You're gonna get yourself killed.
Shut up. Keep your goddamn hands where I can see them. Ah! Shit!
Alright, so we picked the good choice here because it's faster. The cutscene that plays is,
Pull me up.
I'd say, probably about 20 seconds longer when you do the bad option.
I'm slipping.
Either way, she
Oh
falls.
God.
Don't let go! Don't... Shit!
Yep, so there she goes. Oh well,
Damn it.
we tried our best. So now we finally made it to the main road, but we're not in Silent Hill yet. In fact, we won't be in Silent Hill for about the first 50 minutes of the game. So, our first task is to try to get there. Start out, we gotta bust down this lock, And you actually have to be surprisingly careful with these, because once the lock breaks off, if you go to open the door immediately after, the game will still think that it's locked. So whenever you have to like break boards off a door or break a lock, you always have to wait just a little bit after finishing to actually open the door. And I get these areas. So here, I'm not walking, I'm actually holding the run button, but the game forces me to walk because it needs to load the area. This doesn't happen as often as, or on the Series X as it does on the other consoles, but it does still happen from time to time. But yeah, I guess that would be a good point to bring up, that this is on the Xbox Series X. Thanks to its backwards compatibility, we actually get some really nice benefits to running it on this. So, for instance, save a little over 2 minutes just in load times. A 30-second long load screen on this takes about 15 or 16. But the downside is, even though you have the free time save, on the Series X, I guess because of the frame rate, we're not really sure, but the enemy AIs are way more aggressive.
Wow.
The working theory
Look at that.
at the moment
No,
is
52.
basically we think that
Flathead V8.
with the frame rate issue,
No doubt about it.
the frame rate issues that the game originally had on the 360 and even still on the Xbox One, kind of caused the enemy AI to lapse and not make decisions correctly. So now that the frame rate is actually mostly smooth, still not great, but mostly smooth,
I don't want
the
any
enemies
trouble.
have
Just point
a
the way
much
out of town.
easier time following you around and engaging in the behaviors that they're meant to do, which ends up leading to them chasing you for infinity until you leave the area or kill them.
Heading to prison, are you, Murphy?
Just looking for a way out of town is all.
That's so. Afraid all the roads are out, every last one of them. Strangest thing.
What the?
Something wrong, son?
Did you see it? Up there in the window. Never mind.
I suppose if you're really desperate, you could try the old Skytram. Course, it hasn't really been kept up since the accident.
I'll take my chances.
That's the spirit. Well, this mail ain't gonna deliver itself. Good luck, Murphy. Hope you find whatever it is you're looking for.
Hey, what's the name of this place?
Alright, that was our good friend Howard Blackwood, new character in Downpour, who's also in Book of Memories as a merchant. Seems like they really wanted to turn him into a recurring character, but, you know, of course, the franchise pretty much died after this game, so that never came to be.
Hello?
He's just your traditional mystic guide character.
What's that?
Kind of tries to give us a little bit of advice every now and then.
Oh shit!
Though I think more than anything, he just tends to
Anyone hear me?
make Murphy more irritated and upset. We're coming up on our first chase sequence now, where you get to see the most inventive enemy design in this game. A giant black hole. Or red hole. Or whatever. But Silent Hill fans may recognize this as a near direct ripoff of a sequence that occurs in the Borley house in Silent Hill 3. They pretty much took that idea and was like, what if we made this a major game mechanic and threw it at the player at every possible opportunity. Oop, got stuck on that. Well, this is how that turns out, and it's not fun.
Murphy, run!
So yeah, this happens periodically throughout the game. It is what it is. You're just getting chased. You have to sometimes do some puzzles during it, like here. You have to run around to trigger the gates falling, because it's always the last gate that stays open. And we want this left gate to be the one we go through because it's the more direct path. One of the more annoying aspects of the black hole is it rubber bands. So going too fast actually just makes it pop up right behind you and slow you down and ruin your pacing anyway. So we never really go for the traps that slow the black hole down because there's no point. The one exception being a point where dropping a trap to slow down the black hole does actually prevent it from slowing us down at a door, and door transitions during the slowdown are probably 4 times as slow as usual and loses a lot more time than just running through the slowdown. This puzzle is also pretty straightforward. You just run around, find the pictures, and turn them. The hardest part of this, and I guess of the game in general, is just making sure you don't get stuck on collision, because Murphy has a hitbox that's way larger than what he actually looks like, and it's just incredibly easy to get stuck on anything in the game at all. And sometimes, to make it worse, your collision box will actually go inside the collision box of another object and you'll be completely stuck and not be able to move at all. Now here I'm going to try to do a setup so that I don't get slowed down on the second lap. I think I already messed up, but we'll see. I got that slowdown too, so yeah, I definitely don't think we're getting it. That's fine. I've only not gotten the slowdown there maybe 3 times in all of the runs I've done of this game, so not a big deal there. It doesn't save a whole lot of time anyway, maybe like 5 seconds.
I'm losing my mind.
Now we're coming up on our second combat tutorial. Of course, this one, they didn't really think through too well, and you can just nearly entirely bypass it. So we're going to come over here and grab a puzzle item that we will need later. Come back and... oh no! So welcome to enemy design number 2. This is the Siren. It's pretty just a woman with a really muddy texture and some nails embedded in her fists. Alright, made it through the doorway. That's actually a lot harder than it looks. This game has a tendency to make the control direction stick when you're going through transitions. And what I mean by that, so I know that after that cutscene plays, I need to move right? So let's say I held my left control stick to the right, thinking, oh, that'll get me towards the door. Well, you'd be wrong. See, this game decides that if you hold right through a cutscene transition, you're really holding straight. And if you continue to hold right, you'll just keep running straight into the wall. And you won't go anywhere near where you actually want to go. And it's not just cutscenes that do that either. Ladders do it too. So if you climb up a ladder and you hold up thinking that you're going to move forward, well, you may end up just going right back down that ladder and wasting 10, 15 seconds of watching animations of climbing ladders. It's great if you're a Dark Souls or Bloodborne fan, but, you know, not exactly something that we want to do here. These are, in fact, not the best ladders in the business.
Yes. Now back to that sky tram.
Alright, so we got our ticket from the ticket machine. Now we gotta get a change of clothes and then head back to the sky tram where I grabbed the coins earlier.
Nice. Huh? What's this?
On our way, we're gonna have a wave of sirens pop up. And this is where our first enemy AI differences come into play. So, 360, Xbox One, there's a siren that spawns directly ahead of us that usually tries to scream at us. Not on the Series X. On the Series X, it's actually the siren that's spawning behind us that tries to scream. So we try to keep as far right as possible here. And the scream missed. And while one siren is screaming, the others will not try to, so it's weird in that the enemies are more aggressive, but in that case it actually makes this area way more consistent. Because before we would try to basically manipulate the siren in front of us to try to lunge at us instead of screaming, and it was just a coin toss. Now we get through it pretty well unscathed every time.
Ticket machine. Wherever this thing goes, can't be worse than back there, can it?
Alright, so we're one step closer to the town of Silent Hill. But first we have to make yet another detour through the Devil's Pit Canyon. And to start off with, you know how I mentioned that Murphy's hitbox is basically that of a freight train? Well, turns out one of the hardest parts of this run is just getting off this tram. So I'm gonna hold down and hope for the best. But if you get stuck on the sides of the doors, you can lose quite literally up to a minute just being stuck in the doorway and not being able to get out. I have legitimately had runs die to this. We threaded that needle oh so perfectly. We're on our way.
Anybody in here? Hello?
Another nifty little thing, so I'm gonna grab this axe to chop these boards. But if you attack from a certain distance, you just kind of warp up to it and hit it. So that saves little bits of time every here and there. Another thing too is when I go through a door, I always hold up instead of holding in the direction that I actually want to go. Which is mainly because if you just hold forward, you'll start moving immediately after you finish the opening door animation. If you hold to the side, you actually freeze for a moment. Just small, extremely minor optimizations that you can do to make this game a tiny bit quicker. Alright, second NPC of the game, our good friend JP. I'll go ahead and let him do the talking for himself, because I actually kind of like this NPC, not sure why.
Pretty impressive, ain't it? You might not guess by looking at it, but this place used to be filled with all kinds of visitors. Moms and dads and little kids and... Yeah, it was a really nice place.
I'm sorry. You are?
Name's JP, and that, sir, is the Devil's Pit. 490 meters straight down to the blackest soul of the earth. The deepest limestone sinkhole north
that's
of...
fascinating, but... Sorry. Something tried to kill me back there. You haven't seen anyone, strange, wandering around here, have you?
First-time visitor, huh?
Listen, if there's a quick way out of here, I'd really appreciate it if you just tell me.
Way out? What good would that do? Sorry.
So shoutouts to Enigma and Ecdysis who,
These days.
while live, looked up to check the math with this section and found out that the Empire State Building may or may not fit into the Devil's Pit Canyon, depending on whether you count the antenna.
Just love that little train.
How about you show me?
Sorry. Someplace I gotta be.
Thanks for the tip.
The Devil's Pit. Sounds like a fun place to bring the family.
Got another little bit of enemy manipulation here. I'm going to try to bait this Siren into doing a lunge attack and then take a particular line, and hopefully that'll allow me to avoid a scream attack. Let's see. So there's the lunge. This line looks a little wonky. Yeah, you want to pretty much follow the line between the boards down that deck parallel, and I was going a little too much to the left. But that's okay. Throw our axe over the chasm, because otherwise we would lose it at this little quick time event here, and we need that axe. Because that axe is a one-handed axe. And there's going to be several boarded doors that we need the axe to bust through. There is a pickaxe that we could use for the same purpose, but the pickaxe is a two-handed weapon, which means that it takes quite a bit longer per swing. So this saves a couple seconds every time we have to bust down a boarded door. And now a puzzle that barely should be considered a puzzle, but that's pretty much how all the puzzles in Downpour go. So we're going to come up here, and there's going to be a couple valves for us to turn. And we want to turn them so that the water is hitting the generator for the elevator. So we'll start over here.
So all this machinery is powered by an underground.
Move this twice.
Water pumps for.
Move this twice. And this 3 times. And that's it. On the higher difficulties, there's a box here that prevents this wooden thing above us from closing. And that's it for that too. All it does is just add a box that you have to lodge in there before you change the power, otherwise the wood drops down and you can't leave. The harder puzzle difficulties on this game really don't add any difficulty to the game at all. Yeah, most of them are like, oh, you need a quarter for this progression area. Well, what if instead of putting it on this shelf, I put it on this shelf instead? Another nifty little trick here too is when I push the button for that elevator, I don't move at all. That makes this camera face this way every time. If you move, sometimes the camera faces behind you and you have to turn it in order to go the right way. Sirens in this game, they're the weakest health-wise. They can take anywhere from like 2 to 5 hits, depending on how you hit them. That was the 2 hits, so that was optimal as far as actual hits go, but I did have to take a 3rd swing because my second attack missed for whatever reason. Now we're introduced to the Weeping Bats, which are basically just giant man-like mole rats that drop on you from the ceilings, and they're really annoying and have lots and lots of health. These guys are not worth fighting, even casually. They also have a tendency to block most of your attacks, and when they hit you, they love to just slam you into the ground and stun lock you. And with that, we have officially seen half of the enemy designs in the game, and no, I am not joking about that. On the plus side, the 3 enemies that we have yet to find are all pretty much the same enemy, just slightly different attacks. We made it back to JP for our 2nd time.
Sater! Oh, it's just you.
What are you doing, JP?
This is where we talk about the Empire State Building.
You know, enjoying the view. You know, they say if you were to put the Empire State Building in here, it wouldn't even reach halfway to the top of this place.
Seems like a dangerous place.
Okay, yeah, that's way off.
You know, none of those
Okay,
things
never
they said
mind.
about me are
So,
true.
what we
papers and
found out
stuff,
is
people around town,
the
my lawyers,
distance
they said
to
it
the
was just
bottom of Devil's Pit
circumstantial
is
evidence and whatnot.
near exactly the same height as the Empire State Building. So,
Those newspaper men
no,
are
not halfway.
goddamn fucking liars.
The Empire State Building would fit almost perfectly.
We're just talking here.
What happened? That was an accident. I didn't mean to hurt nobody.
This is also going to be
I
our
didn't
second
murder
moral
nobody.
decision that we have to make.
Murder's a
Just
mortal
like
sin.
with
You go
Ann,
to
it's
hell
it's
for
not going to
murder.
make any difference
Ain't that
whether
right,
we pick
Murphy?
the good or the bad
Surely your
choice.
mama taught you
He's
about what's right
still
and
going to
what's
do the
wrong.
same thing.
Those kids had parents that might disagree
But
with you. The paper
at least we got good
mentioned
karma.
negligence,
It
and
was an accident.
you were completely hammered.
And also, like
There were
Ann, the
witnesses.
good choice is actually quite a
And
bit
how about you,
faster.
Murphy?
It's not as big of a
Someone know all your
difference as
dirty
with
little
Ann's
secrets?
cutscenes, but it is
I never
there.
hurt anybody that didn't deserve it. And I sure as hell never hurt any kids. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
You call this living? Can you imagine what that's like, Murphy? Living all your life inside someone else's lie? Can you? Listen to us talk. As if anybody out there gives a damn. When we're the ones who decide if we can live with what we've done.
Wait.
I have a nasty habit of not paying attention in this cutscene and completely missing the button prompt.
Be seeing you around, Murphy.
Tend to lose a couple seconds just because. But that's it for our good friend JP Sater. We will not be seeing him again.
Can't believe he jumped.
And one thing that has irritated not just me, but a lot of other people that I've talked to about as well, is in that scene, you get the choice to be nice to him or to give him hell, and it doesn't make any sense because it happens after you've already given him hell for like 4 minutes straight.
Here goes nothing.
Why? Just doesn't make sense why you would put that choice at the very end, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. If I'm going to be nice to him, you should let me be nice to him from the start. Not one line before nothing matters anymore. And that's in my opinion, one of the bigger faults of this game. You know, we can talk about the enemy design or the bugginess or the poor performance, but this game tends to take a lot of disturbing story elements and removing any sense of nuance from them so that they're just complete shock value and without any actual meaning to driving the story forward or making anything more complex. It's just, hey, here's this thing we're not supposed to do, so we're gonna do it. Alright, 3 hits, I'll take that.
Welcome aboard the Devil's Pit Historic Mine Train.
So we're actually making pretty good time so far. This is gonna be just... It might as well be a cutscene. I was gonna say auto-scroller, but it is more of a cutscene. There is gonna be a quick time event that we have to look out for about halfway through, but just enjoy the views of the Devil's Pit.
Before it became the charming resort town that we know and love today, Silent Hill was once the center of trade and commerce, thanks to its rich scenes of coal and iron ore. You are riding aboard a fully restored mine train.
Warning for flashing lights.
Coal and Iron Company, which first began extracting ore from the Devil's Pit in 1860. This subterranean railroad was built in order to haul men and equipment as far as 1,200 meters below the surface, making it the deepest coal mine of its day. Long before the discovery of the pit's rich coal seams, labyrinths of limestone caves
And flashing lights are done.
indigenous tribes for religious ceremonies, particularly as a gateway to the spirit realm and for communicating with the dead. We're now descending into the superstitious caverns, an area of the cave steeped in mystery and folklore. According to local legend, in 1911, miners discovered mysterious symbols carved into the walls of limestone rock, leading to a wild speculation about witchcraft and the occult. Soon after, a series of unfortunate accidents and reports of mysterious creatures forced the company to suspend mining operations along this sea. Today, visitors to Superstition Cabin Cave
So this quick time event, if you've ever watched a homecoming run, you've heard us mention how if you do the quick time event fast enough, it actually causes you to die and fail the quick time event. Same thing here. And it's actually a lot easier to go too fast and fail that one than it is in homecoming. That said, you can go really slowly and still pass it, so there's really no point in trying to master it at all. Even just a little click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, as opposed to the da-da-da-da-da-da. It still works. Alright, there's the Devil's Pit. We are finally just outside the town of Silent Hill. But before we can actually step foot into the town, we have to run into an old acquaintance of ours.
Pendleton.
Oh, hi. Not sure how you survived that fall, but sure. Welcome back.
Hands against the wall. I said, up against the wall.
You don't have to do this. We should help each other. This place, I don't know what it is or how we got here. But one thing
Just shut up. What the? Where did you get this? Where in the hell did you get this?
I just found it in these clothes. I didn't...
Is this some kind of sick joke to you?
No, I swear. I don't know what's going on any more than you do.
On your knees.
What?
On your fucking knees. You heartless bastard. You don't deserve to live. You're not fit to walk this earth while good, decent men.
I don't know who you think I am or what you think I've done.
Shut the hell up! You think this is funny, don't you? Well, let's see how funny it is with a fucking bullet in your head. I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Go. What the hell are you waiting for? Leave me alone, goddammit! I'm sorry.
Alright, so now that Anna's back from the dead, we'll be seeing her a lot more often. For now, though, we're just gonna let her sit and cry it out while we continue onward. If I were playing 100% here, I would make a slight detour to grab a map in this spot, because weirdly enough, there is actually stuff in this game that requires you to have a map. But we don't need it for this, so off we go. Now here we're going to be coming up on the DLC locker, and I am still going to use it to grab the nail gun, However, I will not be grabbing the double-headed axe. That being because I need a shovel. We're going to be digging up some spots for this required side quest for the ending that we're wanting to get. And this is pretty much the one thing that differentiates the surprise ending from the 80% run.
Where is everybody?
And what this quest is it's called Digging Up the Past. What it typically is, the first time you play through it, is you dig up these spots and there's mementos inside that you can collect. Each one referencing the older Silent Hill games. Unfortunately, those mementos are tied to your save data, so even though you can repeat the quest, you don't actually get to see the mementos when I pick them up. Good dodge. Don't scream at me, please. Okay, good. That means that I can cut this corner right here, and that should hopefully mean we avoid a patrol car that will be coming up behind us. Maybe. Okay, good. That's good enough. So, that's another enemy AI difference. In the 360 and Xbox One, that guy, for the most part, never even comes out to greet you. But on the Series X, he comes out every time, so you just kind of have to deal with him as best you can. It's unfortunate because sometimes he blocks, sometimes he does an overhead attack that knocks you on the ground. It's kind of just RNG of what you get. And of course, like I said, the enemies are more aggressive and will follow you for a lot longer, so here they are. This guy's gonna try to hit us. There's also a siren I saw in the background. Sometimes she'll come in here and scream at me while I'm pulling the ladder down, and that is no fun. But having him here actually gives me a little bit of speed boost, so that helps. Now, regarding the control direction sticking between transitions, this is probably the worst one. I'm gonna kind of intermittently mash up on the control stick to not go back through the window. Because if you go through that, you saw how long that transition was. Imagine having to do that 3 times instead of once. Alright, just gotta come back downstairs and through the front door. And we will be back meeting with Howard Blackwood. So our next goal now is to find where this DJ Bobby Ricks guy is that we keep hearing on the radio. He's putting out dedications specifically for us if we were to listen to the radio broadcast. And we're going to find out that he's actually in the Centennial Building.
Still in town, I see.
So we're going to make our way over there. We're actually not far away from that. Just a short little trek. But there's a few potential trouble spots on the way. First one being right after this cutscene. So, when Howard's done talking, I'm going to try to cut the corner as tightly as I can and hug the left wall. This gives me a visual line of sight through a gate into a little courtyard in the next area. That helps prevent a siren from spawning. Sometimes. Sometimes the siren still spawns, and if you're not far enough to the left, it will spawn every time. And it being a siren, well, she really likes to scream.
By the way, I ran into that lady friend of yours.
And that can lose you a lot of time because not only do you get stunned for 5 seconds when you get screamed at, but there's a dig spot there too that I need to collect. So, she could scream at me, lose time.
I got no idea.
I dig up the item and she screams at me while I'm digging and loses more time, and then maybe knock me around a little bit on my way out the door.
It ain't a mistake.
So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully it'll go well.
Hello?
She gonna be there?
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
No. Good. We'll see, that worked out really well. Now this patrol car is unavoidable, but that's okay. So what the patrol car does is it actually spawns a trio of sirens behind us. As long as we keep moving, that's not too big of a deal. That said, I hope you like sirens because you're going to be hearing them for this whole straightaway. Alright, one little detour before we go on to the next area too, because I have one more hole to dig. And then in the next area, we're going to have to be breaking some locks and tearing boards off a door, so the shovel will not be able to help us with that. Instead, we'll have to be grabbing a crowbar up ahead. Let's come in here.
These are my parole papers. Who is doing this? What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
So during the transfer, they said prisoner 302B.
Hey, Murphy!
And I pointed out that his jumpsuit says 273A. But those parole papers also said 273A. So there is some consistency in this game, just not in the parts that are clearly visible.
What's up, Officer Coleridge?
What was that about?
Nothing.
Hey, don't bullshit a bullshitter. Sewell's bad news, Murph. He doesn't do anyone favors. What are you in for with him?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
For your sake? I hope so. I don't want to get your hopes up, kid, but the parole board's looking pretty closely at your case. Don't screw this up now. Not after all I've done to get you out of here.
Don't worry, Officer Coleridge. I got it all under control. Just some unfinished business to take care of.
What the hell are you doing in here anyway, Murphy? You're not like these guys.
Told you, sir. Car theft, resisting and evading, and...
Yeah, you stole a police cruiser and led him on a 10-hour chase down the eastern seaboard. What makes a guy with no priors and a clean sight do something that stupid? I think you at least owe me the truth.
Maybe I just needed to escape from the world for a while.
Yeah, well, you just steer clear of Sewell and do your homework, right?
You got it, Chief.
We're now in the basement of the Centennial Building. So interestingly, this is one of the few places in the game that isn't the Devil's Pit where you still deal with the weaving bats.
I wonder if I could put the water out somehow.
There's really just not very many indoor places where the weeping bats can cling to ceilings, so I guess that's probably why they don't really appear very often. But
Let's see if this works.
it is a little strange that this game has so few enemy designs, and some of the ones that are there just never really show up. Alright, push that button that opens the door to the elevator. Now we slowly trudge our way out of here. One of the few areas with the fixed camera angle that can really screw up your movement.
Welcome to the Silent Hill Archive and Library.
This is probably one of the more involved areas of the game, and if I had to pick one, I'd say this is probably the most fun area to play as well. That said, we're gonna be not doing a lot of it, so we don't actually get to do the fun bits. Hopefully, let's see. Good. So there's a big crash there that if you don't get through the corner tightly enough, you'll actually get staggered and be in that stagger animation for a solid 10 seconds. But you can just bypass it with good movement. Coming up here, there's a safe that blocks a door, but we already know the solution, so we don't need to go hunting for it. Go. 1 left, 5 left, and 1 right.
So what's it gonna be, Murphy? You and me gonna play ball? Or is all your hard work for nothing? I mean, the way I see it, it's sort of a win-win situation, right? Guys like Napier, they've got no business breathing the same air as you and me, right? Now, the courts and the bleeding hearts out there insist we sequester guys like him away from the general population for their safety.
Yeah, so this is kind of the first
Can you believe that
part
shit?
where you really start to
their
realize the stuff that Napier
Let me
did
ask
with
you
your
this.
kid.
What about Charlie's safety, huh? So this is how it's gonna work. I'll give you access to Napier. Make sure you get some quality time with that worthless sack of shit. I'll see to it no one finds him till I've had a chance to scrub the place down. Keep you in the clear. But in exchange, you're gonna owe me a favor. Think you can do that for me, sport? Of course you can. I know you're a man of your word, Murphy. You be a straight shooter with me, I'll be a straight shooter with you. Remember, Cupcake, you owe me one.
And now that he's finally done talking, we can move on. Through here, we've got a big open office space kind of where we would have to solve a couple puzzles. But, you know, again, it's a keypad. We don't actually need to do anything. So you have all this area down here. Nah. Just not really feeling it, you know? Yeah, you were gonna scream. That's fine. That's fine.
I think I could climb this to the upper level.
Since we don't have the axe, it doesn't really matter if I drop my weapon there. I'm gonna be picking up a shovel in the next area anyway, so I can just pull out the nail gun and stop her from screaming before she does with the nail gun. Still have plenty of ammo to use on the boogeyman later on. Win-win. Only thing is I should have dropped the crowbar ahead of time, because opening the door into dropping the crowbar makes you stand still, even though if you drop the weapon at any other time, you're able to move freely. Also, push comes to shove, you can just use the nail gun like a standard melee weapon, and it actually does pretty decent damage that way too. Alright, so here, let's see if I'll get it. Yep. Yep, so I actually want that shadow to hit me, because if it doesn't, I don't get this speed boost. You see how the camera is pulled out? That actually means that I'm in a combat mode, and it gives me a very nifty speed boost.
Here's the problem. Where am I supposed to find a security card?
Alright, and that's just about everything for the Centennial Building. We just gotta run across a little straightaway here, and then it is DJ Bobby Ricks time. I love this guy. He cracks me up.
That, my brothers and sisters,
He
was another rock and roll classic coming to you.
Such a terribly written
on this
character.
fine afternoon. Weatherman
But
says there's a storm coming our way to spoil the
I'll let him
fun.
speak.
So batten down the hatches and snuggle up under the blanket with the one you love, because it's gonna be a rough ride. And speaking of rough rides, we got another dedication going out to my man with the plan, Murphy Pendleton. Somebody out there has got an eye on you, MP, so watch your back and keep it on track. Hey, man, come on in. Got a disc spinning right now, so you ain't interrupting nothing. Man, you look like you just saw
This
a ghost or
guy
something. You all right?
100% exists
Not really,
just
no.
so that they can explain why
Good to
there's a
hear.
key to a boat later
So
in the
what can
game.
DJ Bobby Ricks do for you?
Murphy Pendleton?
Like I was saying, what can DJ Bobby Ricks do for you, Murphy? Got a track you want to play, or?
I'm the guy you've been putting out the dedications for. I got the message. I came to find you.
Afraid you got the wrong man, Murphy. I don't know what you're talking about. But if there's a song you want to hear or a dedication you want to make, I could. You're listening to the DJ Rick Show on WLMN-FM, where the tracks are tight and the sweet melodies flow on and on. It's always a perfect day with DJ Ricks, your on-air friend to the end.
Look, man, I came through hell and high water to get here because you called me. Now cut the bullshit, because I don't have time for this.
Chill out, man. If you don't keep your voice down, you're gonna get us both in trouble. And you do not want that. You don't know who might be listening. You understand? Thank God someone finally heard me. I can't even tell you how long it's been just spinning record after record after record, hoping someone.
What the hell's going on here, Ricks? What is this place?
No time to explain. If we're gonna get out of here, we gotta move fast. You getting this far tells me we might even have a chance of getting out alive.
What's the plan?
Right. Listen, I got this boat. She's moored down at the marina. She's fast, real fast. Problem is some motherfucker ransacked the studio and checked the keys.
I'll hotwire it. No problem.
That's not gonna work. This place, it does strange shit to reality, man. It's like there's rules you gotta follow. You know what I mean?
Bobby Ricks.
This is a good time to point out that if you look closely, Bobby Ricks' eyeball clips through the bottom eyelid on each eye. Just putting that out there.
That's nice of you to think of me. Yeah. Real nice. Thank you. They're coming.
Who?
Doesn't matter. We gotta find those keys. On the silver chain says freedom. You can't... Miss,
Pendleton.
Put the gun down, damn it. We might have a way out of here.
You. I need to use your phone.
Sorry, lady. Calls come in, but don't go out. Just because folks want to be heard, don't mean they're willing to listen. See for yourself.
What the hell's going on around here? No!
Well, we never see Bobby Ricks again, so there's that. Grab that just for safety. It's very easy to take an extra hit here and get damage slowdown. So it's nice just to have that health kit in case, because having to walk from the end of this segment to the orphanage without any healing items loses a solid minute. Alright, so the gimmick with this chase is there's gonna be a bunch of stuff on the ceiling that if it falls on us and lands on us, well, we die and have to start the entire chase sequence over again, which loses a lot of time. This is also where one particular glitch comes into play that would really rather not experience. So I'll point that out right about here. So if I turn this corner, I want to stay to the left here, because if I'm on the right, then there's a chance that the black hole will hit me through the wall and just instantly kill me, regardless of what my health is at.
Shut it up.
Thankfully, that's an easy glitch to bypass, so not a big deal. Here we got another little kind of auto-scroller moment where we're just stuck in this cage and we're waiting for it to reach its final destination. There's not really a whole lot to look at here either. There's Wheelchair Man again. If you've paid attention, you've probably seen him a few times. Oh look, it's Murphy. Still wearing his prison outfit.
No way. Couldn't be.
Alright, it's almost done. And no, there was not anything modeled that would create a cone of water like that. No sprinkler, no nothing. Now this part gets a little tricky. First off, we are absolutely gonna grab this health back because I like to just YOLO my way through these wall squirters here, and they have a random chance of doing 1 squirt or 2. If they do 2, like that, they hit me. But if they do 1, then I make it through. And every now and then, I'm able to just run through without getting hit at all. If I do get hit, and I heal myself with the health kit, it pretty much breaks even, so, you know, it's worth it. Alright, I think that one's going to hit me with a scream. There's a specific line you take to avoid the first scream, which actually looks like I managed to get it. Oh, and you despawned. That's wonderful. For whatever reason, on the Series X, those sirens tend not to despawn when you turn that picture, but this time it did. Good. First try. This is probably the hardest balance section in the game, just because it's got a lot of turns, and the game likes to throw your weight all over the place. So hopefully we don't die. Yeah, so you saw that I was leaning all the way to the left, and then all of a sudden I was leaning all the way to the right. That's what this game does. That's how it gets you. But overall, that wasn't bad. Now if I can just get through these blade cycles without getting hit or having to stop, then that would be great. These are really tight cycles to make. Alright, that went really well.
Who are you?
There's our wheelchair guy again, and time for another Tomb Raider slip and slide. So it is actually surprisingly easy to die on these. Just FYI. If you go to either side, you kind of get rebounded back in the opposite direction, which means that if you desperately try to avoid an obstacle, you might end up just flinging yourself right back into it and dying. That has happened on several runs. I have lost a lot of runs that way. But if you're being very careful and meticulous with your movements, it's you don't really get tossed around like that in that case. Alright, that's the entirety of the Centennial Building. We're back on the streets of Silent Hill, taking a little nap on our local bench. But we've got mail. The loading screens in this game are so long. Hey, Howard.
Funny place to take a nap, son.
How you doing?
You know you could get your death out here if you're not careful. Got something for you.
I like how you can still hear the rain in the background, even though there's
From St.
no
Louis,
rain in the scene.
the old orphanage up there on the hill.
No. This can't be right.
Got your name on it, doesn't it? Seems plenty right to me. Of course, you won't know till you open it, will you?
No. Enough of this shit. No. I'm done. I'm finished with the riddles, the mind games. Whatever I did to get here, I've had enough. I want out. Do you understand me? Do ya?
Son, you still don't get it. It doesn't matter what you want. As for me, I got mail to deliver. Goodbye, Murphy.
Alright, we're getting pretty close to the biggest RNG mess of the game. Not quite there yet, so I'll save that explanation for a little bit. Right now, we have a couple more holes to dig, so I'm gonna come right over here for a shovel, and we'll work our way back. It's a shame you can't use the shovels to break the boards on the door. That would actually help a lot. Just being able to skip having to go out of your way for the shovel right here. Alright, now we're off on our way to the orphanage. But we're gonna make another small detour once we get up there. So one of the things I actually kind of like about Downpour is a lot of the town is surprisingly open. You don't really get the full access until the very end of the game. But you can literally just walk back all the way to the start of the town if you want to, right now. And that's honestly kind of nice. Silent Hill games have always been kind of open and exploration based. But they're usually blocked off in these sections where there's this section you can freely explore, and then you do a quote-unquote dungeon type area before moving on to the next area. The only one that really takes this kind of approach, I feel, is Origins, and that, well, let's just say Origins is the only Silent Hill game I have yet to finish. Most of that openness is mandatory backtracking.
Yes. May I help you?
I'm Murphy Pendleton. I received this letter today. but I think there's been a mistake.
Ah, yes. Mr. Pendleton. We've been expecting you. You were the only family we were able to locate.
This is another spot too where I try not to touch the controller at all, because if I don't touch anything, the camera faces a particular way, and if I move, it can change. So the camera isn't going to be pointing at the door that I need to go through when this cutscene is over.
There's no mistake.
But I at least know which way I need to go, and that helps. As opposed to the camera angle potentially being turned towards the door, but also potentially being pointed at the opposite door. Considering they both look near identical,
what the
I'd rather take knowing which way I need to go.
He died peacefully and is finally at rest. For that, at least, we can thank the Lord for his mercy.
This is also a very cutscene heavy area. We have this cutscene here. We're going to be playing for about 30 seconds to a minute and then going right into another cutscene. Then there's 2 more cutscenes after that.
I'll meet you in the morning.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
Not exactly a whole lot of gameplay for the next 30 minutes or so.
The good Lord has allowed us to carry out his work here at St. Maria's. I'm sure you'll find your visit enlightening.
That said, this is a fantastic spot of the game. If you're out of coffee or a drink, and you need to just take a break, lots of breathing room. As long as you're not actually caring about the story. Like this next cutscene that we're going to be going into is a solid 3 or 4 minutes long. Go make you that cup of coffee. Go crack open a seltzer water or whatever you might drink.
Where'd she go?
Go to the bathroom. Plenty of opportunities. Of course, before we get to the next cutscene, we do have to make a small detour, because in the surprise ending, needing the shovel, we don't get the double-headed axe like in any percent, which means that we actually have to make a detour to grab this axe here. Any other axe you get will break as soon as you hit those boards. This spawns some dolls that are supposed to attack you, but no. Who cares? Just run away. Oh. There's the control direction sticking. At least it was there and not somewhere else. And there's another enemy that's coming up to ambush me, but I'm through the door, so forget about it.
Hey there. Do you live here?
Sister said we're not supposed to talk to
This is a great area too, because you see,
it's just you.
There's no glass in this window pane. So the big issue here is that the door is locked and we can't get through.
Maybe you could unlock this door.
Murphy, just reach your arm in there.
You could do that for me?
Look at how much space you have to just reach in.
It's a pretty cool car you got there. You like cars? Yeah, my little boy. He used to play with cars just like that. You kind of remind me of him.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Did you kill him?
What? No, of course not. Why would you say something like that?
Because she said you're the boogeyman.
Boogeyman? What are you talking about? Who said that?
She did. She told me all about you.
Why is she crying? Who is she?
I don't know. Just some girl. She's always sad, but she knows things.
What kind of things?
Things about the boogeyman.
Look, I won't lie to you. Grown-ups tell kids there's no such thing as monsters, that the boogeyman's just make-believe, and there's nothing hiding under their beds. But that's a lie, because I've seen him. And I have a feeling you have too. But I'm not one of them. I'm not the boogeyman. Now what do you say we get out of here, all three of us?
Do you know the rhyme?
What rhyme?
She told me there's a secret rhyme that makes the boogeyman go away.
That's gonna come into
If you say
play
fast enough, he
fairly
can't
soon
hurt
as
you.
well. That's a whole
you know
nother
it?
rant that I have.
No. But if there's a rhyme that can do that, I sure wish you'd teach it to me.
See you in about 10 minutes for that one.
Then I guess she's right. You are the boogeyman.
Kid, look at me. I'm not a monster.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Alright, so now we have to find the rhyme that the kid is talking about. To do so, we're going to be running around and actually picking up physical...
Hey, kid!
The heck kind of laugh is that? But, yeah, we're gonna go find paper copies of this rhyme and shove them in our pocket. So that we can persuade the guy, the little kid, that we're not the boogeyman and he'll let us through the door. But you'll see. So we're coming up on our first part here. But we have to be able to get through it, so let's see. Locked door. Big chandelier. What are we gonna do?
That looks like a rhyme book.
We have ourselves a battering ram now. So, interesting fact about this QuickTime event. I'm mashing A and X at the same time. This does not penalize you for pushing the wrong button at all. It only checks to make sure that you're pushing the right button. So, you push both the buttons that you'll need to push, you're good.
Two of the pages are torn out.
Also here, dropping the axe prevents the actual page in your journal from popping up and making you read it for a little bit. But it doesn't actually save any time, or if it does, it's very little, because you still have to wait for that door to open itself. And it's a quirky little thing, and I like to show it off. Now comes the fun part. And we're gonna try not to have a repeat of what happened last time I was live with this game. We're fixing to do a puzzle, and I found out the hard way that opening your inventory at particular times has the potential to soft lock the game. So we're going to not do that. Pull down this ladder. We have a couple things to collect. This is another part where the puzzle, quote-unquote, difficulty comes into play. If I was on hard mode, that lever would still be there, but this record would be in a different drawer. It's incredibly dumb. The only way that it makes the puzzle harder is if you're already familiar with the easy mode puzzle. Otherwise, it's just exploring like you would already do anyway. Alright, make sure I pulled the second lever. Make it rain. And bring the thunder. Alright, we have now created a cabin in the woods scenario inside of a mausoleum, or orphanage. Mausoleum comes later. And we got a couple sirens that we're gonna have to try to bait into not screaming at us. Please don't. You're so close to not getting hit by that. That's aggravating. Alright, what's wrong? There it is. There we go. That was actually pretty decent. So the trick with that puzzle is if you flip a panel, you can't turn that same panel until it's finished turning. But if you move to another panel, you can still change them. So you just rapidly move from panel to panel and turning them until it's done, and that ends up saving roughly a third of the time that it would take you to solve the puzzle otherwise. So we made it through there with no incidents. Pick our axe back up because we're gonna need it before too long.
Come on out, sweetie.
And there's little Anne.
Not gonna hurt you.
That laugh. That laugh gets me so bad. So now we finally get a chase sequence where we're the one chasing. Except you don't actually have to chase, so I'm just gonna stand there and watch my departed son run off into the mist without me.
Come on, Daddy, hurry up!
Charlie?
Bye, Charlie. Have fun in the afterlife.
Charlie! Charlie!
Now we're approaching the big RNG moment. So, in any percent, I have a setup that eliminates this RNG from the run. In this category, that setup does not work. So, we're just gonna have to deal with whatever we get. I'm still gonna do the setup of the any percent run, just because if it's going to be random, then I might as well do what I'm used to anyway. Plus, that's the closest line to a body. But basically, we're going to be going into a room with 3 sirens in stretchers. And we have to figure out which one has a key in it. The first one is always wrong. And then the other two have a 50-50 chance. And if you get it wrong, then you get a fight encounter that wastes about 30 seconds. So let's see how this goes. We're gonna come straight to you. It's gonna do that. We're gonna do it again to trigger the first fight. And I got stuck. Alright, so we'll come to the second one. And we got it. Good.
This won't be fun.
Got the key. And that is the third and final piece of the rhyme as well. So, let me repeat that. That is the third and final physical piece of the rhyme. We have the entire rhyme laid out in our journal, ready for us to read at any
I
time.
wonder if that kid will let me through the door now.
What does the rhyme do? Gets rid of the boogeyman. So we have a rhyme that gets rid of the boogeyman. It's in our pocket. It's complete. We can read it at any time. Now, how about if I just completely ignore that and try to fumble it out of my memory instead?
Hey, kid. I got the rhyme. I say it and you open the door. That's how it works, right? Hey, did you hear me?
This also sounds like some sketchy creeper guy trying to sell a kid drugs.
Hey kid, I got the drugs. You gonna open the door or what?
Look out! It's... Get out of there! Come on!
Poor little Steven Skelter. Even the chaplain won't forgive you. Forever lies your pleading cries, but Susie knows you felt her shit. Nowhere left for you. Nowhere left for you to run. Every fault laid bare in the open. Leave him alone, damn it!
Murphy has so many stupid lines in this game.
Splayed out from within. Once the monster has his fun. Oh God, darling! Take heed. It's not too late. His mistakes needn't haunt you forever. He's just a kid, you son of a bitch. Though you have regret, you can't just forget. You alone decide your fate. Charlie, I'm sorry. So sorry. Charlie! Charlie! Oh, God. Charlie! Charlie!
Mr. Pendleton, I have to ask you to leave, sir. We've got everything under control.
Where's my son? Where's Charlie?
Please, Mr. Pendleton, you don't want to be here. Let one of my
So
officers
any
drive you back to the
eagle-eyed
police
viewers
station, and we'll call you when-
Where's my boy? Is he
might
out there?
recognize this shoreline right here. This is the same shore graphically that the bus crashed on at the start of the game. The only difference being there's now houses in the background because it's not actually that shore, it's the shore behind Murphy's house.
Him. He never did anything to you.
Wasn't me. I didn't. I mean... Wait! Come back!
Yes, my favorite part.
It's not safe.
Come back, little girl, it's not safe. Come with me, the grown man holding an axe that's chasing you down instead. It's okay, sweetie. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Wait. Stop running. It's not safe. Damn it, I'm not gonna hurt you.
Let's see if I get smacked by this shockwave. Like a 50-50 chance if I get staggered or not. Yep, I got it. That's okay. That's like maybe not even a second of time loss. Now we're gonna come into the water, which slows us down, but if we rub up against this pipe. Alright, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna do the bed then. And it still didn't do it. Okay, well, we're just taking that time loss then, I guess. So those things are supposed to basically bud the game out into not realizing that you're in water and giving you back your full run speed, but it just didn't feel like doing it there. It's not a huge waste, but still disappointing. Another chase sequence. This is going to be the one chase where we actually knock over one of those boxes. This is also one part where if I get hit, it doesn't really matter because being injured in chase sequences actually makes you go faster. Push this one down. That slows the black hole down just enough so that we get slowed here, but not while we're opening the door. And of course, since we're injured and we're moving faster, we actually catch up to the girl there and can't open the door until she finishes closing it. Which, given the black hole rubber bands, means that you're not gonna make it without getting slowed again. Right, I actually might have been able to make it through that on the first cycle, but I would rather play it safe, considering we're actually on a really good pace at the moment. Alright, grab this for safety. We're not going to heal just yet, because we want to be injured during this so that we can run a little bit faster. This is always a predetermined number of strikes, so it's really just surviving. The fast movement speed just makes it easier to avoid the shock waves. Alright, next one will be to push me through here. And I accidentally just used all my health kits, I'm pretty sure, because I was mashing that D-pad button. That's okay. Grab this one, that'll be good enough. There's a spitter on these stairs that we're going to try to sneak past, but 99% of the time it hits us. So we need the health kit to recover that health, otherwise we're going to be slow. Yeah. Just like that. There's only been maybe 2 times that I've actually made it past that spitter without it hitting me, but it's still better than waiting for it, because those spits take such a long time to deactivate. Even when there's no fluid in the air, it can still hit you. Now we've got a quick little quote-unquote puzzle. If by puzzle you mean here's 2 levers, figure out which one does the thing. Hooray, we did it. The other one drops the chandelier down and has an enemy on it. Which it actually does pretty cleverly too, because you pull the lever and you see the chandelier come down with an enemy on it. So you pull the lever again thinking, oh crap, crap, crap. And then the chandelier comes back up and there's no enemy on it and you're like, oh no. So, weirdly enough, one of the better attempts at driving tension that the game has. And it's for 1 enemy on a chandelier. Bell puzzle's really easy. It's 2 2 1 1 1. But if you mess it up, it's just incredibly difficult to get it set back because it only checks for the correct combination every 5th ring. So if you're missing one, then you have to add an extra ring in there to get it back on cycle. Otherwise, you're going to be putting in the right combination, but it will never take it because it's checking it at the wrong part of the sequence. There's Wheelchair Man again, with Little Ann.
Get away from her.
And now a 4.5 minute long cutscene. You just have this big chase sequence and otherworld sequence, and immediately after this you have the Boogeyman boss fight.
Where am I?
But of course you gotta separate all of that action with a nice, long, dreary
Thank you
cutscene.
for coming to shepherd your son home, Mr. Pendleton. I know it's difficult losing a child.
With all due respect, I don't think you do. And like I already told you, there's been a mistake. I buried my son years ago.
I understand, Mr. Pendleton. We all deal with grief in our own way. Shall we? Now, if you'll just sign for your son's body, you can take him home.
No! This isn't my son! This thing's a monster, a murderer!
Yes, well, I suppose that runs in the family.
What the hell are you talking about?
Don't you know, child? Have you wandered so far off the path to not even realize who you are?
What the hell are you talking about?
That is a good burn, though.
So often the answers are before us, Murphy. If only we allow ourselves to see them.
Why are you doing this to me?
There were those who dwelt in darkness and in the shadow of death. Prisoners in misery and chains, because they had rebelled against the word of God.
I
They
get
cried
it.
out to the Lord in their trouble.
I screwed up,
He saved
but I
them.
didn't see any other
He
way.
brought them out of darkness.
You
and
don't
the
know what it
shadow of
was
death,
like to
and
know it
broke
was
their
my
bonds
fault he
apart.
was gone. Every
You who
time I
seek God,
shut
let
my
your heart
eyes,
revive.
I saw Charlie's
For the
face,
Lord
and all I
hates
could
thee and
think
does not
was,
despise
that
his who
monster
are
is still
prisoners.
alive, but I'll never get to see
Amen.
my boy again. Why are you doing this to me? What do you want? What I did to Napier didn't solve anything.
What's this? Character development.
And I was stuck in prison. Everything spiraled out of control.
Only 4/5 of the game, way through the game.
I just want my life back.
Revenge is a long, treacherous road, isn't it, Mr. Pendleton? Where do you suppose it ends?
And there's the boat key.
It's yours, if you want it. You only need to claim him as your own. You see? I knew you'd come around in the end. Welcome home, Mr. Pendleton. Glory be to God.
Alright, here we go. The big boss battle. I can only imagine how grueling this is gonna be. Get rid of the axe, pull out her gun. I don't know how many shots we have in this, but it's gonna be enough. Surely.
Charlie? Charlie? Hold on, I'm coming!
So yeah, this is the big adversary that we've been shown the whole game. And... oh, I didn't get the knockdown skip. Well, that's it. That's the end of the fight. Great job. Man. Who'd have thought the Pyramid Head knockoff would be such a pushover? But what I was trying to do there is, if you drop the nail gun and then you pick it up right as he slams his hammer down,
You killed him.
you actually don't get knocked down by the shockwave, and you can just go pick up his hammer right away. Saves about a second.
Doesn't matter. It
But
didn't bring you back.
I picked the gun up just
Nothing can bring you
tiniest bit too soon,
It's not.
so I got knocked down.
I'm sorry.
But now we finally have our boat key. We know that the boat's down at the marina. We're set. So I guess it's time to dig one last hole and drive off into the sunset. We do have one more ladder that we have to deal with. And yes, this ladder does kill way more runs than the boogeyman fight, because the boogeyman fight never kills any. Alright, we cleared the ladder. That is, I want to say, the last ladder that is actually a threat. So, we have vanquished the final enemy. I just got to deal with one last cop car. This is another one that pretty much just always gets us, so again, I hope you like police sirens, because you're going to be hearing a lot of them right now. And if I was injured enough to be slow, then you would be hearing the enemy siren screams as well. Grab that. Gonna need that. Pull the lever. Oh, hi. You're right there. Very happy that you didn't scream at me. So that enemy actually doesn't normally make it to that point, but Downpour's always got to throw a surprise or two at you. Alright, here's our last digging hole. Now all we gotta do is just finish the game. Sure, I'm glad that this boat is entirely empty. I would hate to have any surprises. Yep, completely empty boat. Not a soul to be seen other than Murphy.
You gotta be kidding me.
Did you really think it could end like this?
After everything you saw back there, everything we've been through, you think going back to prison is all that's at stake here?
We're not going.
So of course Anne had to just completely
Turn the boat around.
pop into existence
Are you out of your mind?
for the second
We're
time.
free. When we reach the opposite shore, I'll go one way, you can go the other. It's that easy.
We've got unfinished business, you and I.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, and honestly, I don't care anymore. There is no way in hell I'm going back.
It wasn't a request.
We've both just been through hell. Haven't you been paying attention?
No, you haven't been paying attention. You think this is all an accident? Just a big coincidence? This town, it knows me. It showed me things. It wants me to finish this. Don't you understand? It'll never let us go until we finish what we started. What you started.
I told you. I'm not going back. You might as well shoot me.
Fine then.
Fine.
There was something on the dock. I saw a little wiggling thing back there. I wonder if that was the wheelchair guy again. I actually had never noticed that before.
Heard you're gonna be leaving us soon.
What do you want, Sewell?
You weren't thinking of leaving before you paid back my favor, were you?
Napier.
What am I talking about? Of course you're gonna keep your end of the deal. You're a real stand-up guy, Murphy. Parole report says so right there in black and white. A model prisoner, right? Sure would be awful if they found out about what you did to that child bugger and bastard, though, wouldn't it? I mean, shit. That would ruin everything, wouldn't it?
What do you want me to do?
What you're good at, of course. Ridding the world of monsters. I got another one for you.
Who is it?
It's a little sad that
about the
the most
details,
believable
Cupcake.
character in this
Just
game
take
is
out the
Sewell.
garbage like you did before, and we'll be square.
When?
His
There's
dialogue
gonna
feels
be a
the most
little
natural, and I could
disturbance tonight.
like
The other guards and me are gonna have our hands full, so no one's gonna notice when you head down to the showers and find your guy.
I could
waiting
definitely
there,
see
just
someone like
last
him
time.
existing.
And then?
Oh, I think you know what comes next. Unless, of course, you're thinking of breaking our deal.
And this other guy, he deserves it?
Oh, Murph, you have no idea how bad he deserves it. Hell, I only wish I could do
Definitely
it
not
myself.
as
So,
hokey as Murphy's
what do you
does
say, Cupcake?
and screams and
You
all
gonna
of that,
play ball?
at the very least.
I'll take care of it.
Born free.
Alright, back in prison. Now we got a new jumpsuit. This one, of course, OP. For, what is it, Overlook Penitentiary?
You don't recognize me, do you?
The answers are before us, Murray. Only we allow ourselves to see them.
Shoutouts to the invisible wall and that cell door not existing on the Series X.
I might be able to cross over on
On the other consoles, you get stuck in that doorway for about 3 seconds just waiting for the area to load.
Come on, Murphy, hold it together, man.
Alright. So, all of our stuff that we collected in the town is gone now. We're pretty well starting from scratch. So we need to gather some supplies. Got an axe here. I don't actually need the flashlight, but it's impossible to get the keycard without grabbing it as well. Now, you need to come down here. But there's going to be a jump scare that staggers Murphy momentarily, so just swing your axe through it. No big deal. Got a similar thing in this room here, except... Oh, I got the stagger anyway. But if you swing through that stagger, the trigger for it still exists on your way back, so regardless of what happens, you're always going to take that step back. Funny, but also just kind of neat to throw in there. This is also the part of the game where everything just kind of gets a little bloated. This whole Otherworld prison segment is just way longer than it really needs to be. Oh, you're there. Hi. So that little prisoner typically isn't there, but on Series X it has a chance of showing up for some reason. No other console has that guy appear. Still pretty easy to dodge if you know what you're doing, though. Now this, I could YOLO it and just try to dodge the electricity coming back. But I'm gonna play it safe and just go ahead and turn it off now. That loses about 6 seconds, but it's really easy to get caught by the electricity on your way back and die. And that is a lot longer than 6 seconds lost if you die there. Pretty much any death you take in this game is going to be about 15 to 20 second time loss just for the loading screen, and then however much time it takes you to get back to where you were. Alright, gonna carry the shotgun with me just in case. I don't actually need this. Or actually, I'm just gonna drop it right here.
The guards can pass their sidearms through that.
So grabbing that shotgun doesn't actually lose any time though, because you still have to drop the flashlight there. And I'm just gonna leave it there because there's another shotgun later on that I can just grab that doesn't spawn if you already have a shotgun. We got these guys that are gonna try to chase me down and hit me while I'm putting in a keypad code. And this is a great code. You could say the best of codes. What is it? 2, 3, 4, 5. So you might ask, if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, what is it on the hard riddle difficulty? Well, glad you asked. It is 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just adds an extra 2. Shoutouts to probably the loudest part of the game, right here. And of course, what Silent Hill game isn't complete without bottomless pits? Straight into a flashback. If I had the shotgun here, I could be shooting it, and I would actually permanently lose those bullets. And that's the only thing permanent that can happen here. Like, you can't actually interact with any of these guys. It's just on a timer, so you're waiting. Alright. Now this part can get a little tricky. So I have to activate both of these card panels. That was at 2:16 flat, so about 2:16:30 is when the gate will be fully open for me to slide through. Until then, I just kind of have to bait these enemies. There we go. Perfect. Still getting a speed boost up here. That's really good too. That does not always happen. And it lasted for the whole time too. Really good to see. Now this guy's gonna try to charge me down. This is another... Yep. This is another difference between Series X and the other consoles. That guy does not get aggroed at all on the other consoles, but always does on this one. Now we're just collecting evidence from the crime scene. This is the crime scene that got Murphy sent to Wayside Max. And whether you committed the crime or not, well, fun fact, actually depends on your choices that you make during the game. So, did you kill Frank Coleridge? Maybe. Maybe not. With the choices we've made, we did not. But that also isn't going to matter because we're not getting a traditional ending. So we're not going to see the actual ending of this story.
Can't help himself.
Fun little guillotine maze with the black hole chasing us. Pretty straightforward. Just gotta remember what the path is. It's pretty much just alternating lefts and rights. If I'm lucky, I'll be on a good cycle for this guillotine, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah. That definitely would have hit me. And if you get hit by a guillotine in this part, that is a huge time loss because it's going to push you right into that black hole. Right into it. Well, this is a good cycle at least. Still got to wait for this one. And this one. So that probably looked really dangerous, but it was actually perfectly safe. As long as the blades have moved on that last one, you can't get hit by them anymore. It's always really funny when you watch Murphy get impaled by the spikes, but he doesn't die. Alright, and here's the shotgun that doesn't spawn if you already have one. But this way we always have as many shells as possible for the elevator segment, because this is kind of a crapshoot. So what this is it's several waves of enemies that you're supposed to kill before the elevator continues on. But turns out if you just hit them once, the game thinks that they're dead and continues on. Only if it's a direct hit, though. If you just graze them, then it's not going anywhere. So this one is the hard one. That should have worked. Come on, baby, open up. There we go. So he had actually blocked that shotgun shot and wasn't dead, but when I stepped onto the elevator, the game thought he was dead, so it killed him. That's how this part works. All right. That was a little rough, but it'll work. I don't think we lost too much time there. Maybe like 5 seconds or so. I have plenty of health kits, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one just for the extra safety. I really probably don't need that at all, but there's a lot of stuff that can happen in this part. I've had an any percent run that was about a minute ahead of world record pace, and then I lost it all just in this area here. Got another bridge sequence here. So if we still had our shotgun, this would make us drop it. And now for some puzzles. Now, the funny part is this is probably the closest thing to actual puzzles in the game. This is not affected at all by the puzzle difficulty. It's still exactly the same.
That's right, you ugly bastards. Back off!
So we're running through the cutscenes here to save a little bit of time. There's one spot in particular, after we push this button that's coming down, where if we have really good movement, we can thread the needle and move back through in between these cages here, while the cutscene is playing and without seeing what we're doing. So let's see if we can get that. Yep, we got it. Very nice. Now for the spinning blades. This is more dangerous than it appears. You wait for them to go down, but when the blades are slowing, they still hit you at full force, and if you get hit, you die. So you have to be really mindful and watch the movement patterns. Because if you're just off cycle, then like if I run forward and here, yeah, that blade, if it had touched me, I would still have died. So I played that a little safe, went a little slower, just to see how the cycles lined up, and I probably would have made it through even if I had rushed it a little bit, but dying here is a huge time loss, like anywhere else. And now for, hands down, my least favorite part of the run. Dealing with these guys is just a pain, every time. There's a couple of them that you just have to try to squeeze past, and they love doing their overhead strike that just knocks me down, like that. Just like that. But even if I try to swing at them to stop them from hitting me, that's still... swinging your weapon keeps you in place, and the swing from the fire extinguisher is about as long as the knockdown from the enemy's attack, so there's just not really anything you can do there to actually prevent time loss, if it's gonna happen. And then here, sometimes when I go down the ladder, they'll cut me off and beat me up a little bit before I get through the door. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Thank you guys so much, you're so kind. And then these guys have a tendency to not stay down when I knock them down. And that's not good. Because the whole point of knocking them down is that I need to spin this lever. And if they hit me while I'm spinning it, it knocks me off, and the door completely resets. So I think I should be good. The one that got up before the others got knocked down, so I was able to deal with that. Yep, all good. And I'm done with that crowbar. Go ahead and drop it. Got one last chase sequence. And we're a little injured, which is actually good here, because like I mentioned earlier, in the chase sequences, if you're injured, you actually move a little faster. So right now I'm still moving at default speed, but it's going to slow me down here, and that should give me the movement speed up that I need. Yeah, so I should be injured enough now that I won't get slowed down while coming up these stairs. Saves a couple seconds. If you can manage it, it's nifty. We're not gonna wait for this guy. I'm not even gonna bother trying to skip cycles on these. With the damage speed, you can actually skip some of them. But it's very risky, and you can get killed doing it. Alright, guillotines are glitched. That's perfect. That was about as good as it possibly could have been. I'll just grab the shotgun there. Don't need the health. Alright, and we are at the final boss. Let's see how this goes. Will I make the first cycle on the lift? No. That's okay. That's just a bonus if you can get it. Not a huge deal. It's pretty much random if you can get it or not too. Alright. Good movement through that cutscene. Got us on the lift. Now this one you can't get on the lift before it goes back down just because of the angle on the light. But that's okay because we actually need to grab some extra ammo here. Otherwise we'll run out about halfway through the fight. This one's a little trickier. Got some turns that we need to make. I kind of made it. Alright, not the best, but still pretty acceptable. And we got these guys that come out of the doorways to block our path. Plus they spit at us if we don't shoot them in time. The siren didn't come out, that's good. This fight is looking really well so far. Alright, can we make it on there? Doesn't look like it. Nope. That's a shame. That means that I didn't have enough or good enough movement on the catwalk section. And then this is the hardest cutscene to maneuver during, so we'll see if we get it. I think I didn't make it. Yep, still right there. I got stuck on the tube. I only missed one cycle though, so that's not too terribly bad. As long as I hit this quick enough and make the cycle back down, which I did. Perfect. And that's the final boss. Now the game's not over yet. We've got about another 4 minutes of cutscene, and then we have one last encounter with our favorite, Officer Ann Cunningham. But if we were to use in-game time to time these runs, then the run would be done, because in-game time actually stops when you finish Monster Frank.
What? He was a good man. A good man.
What the hell are you talking about? That thing tried to kill me. It's not a man, it's a monster. No. No, that's not how it was supposed to go. That's not what I agreed to.
Murphy? Is that you?
Officer Coleridge?
Jeez, I'm glad it's just you.
So this is the riot that Sewell set off.
Fierce. I knew you'd be smart enough to steer clear of it.
What are you doing
And he wanted us to finish off Frank for him, because Frank had caught on to the fact that he was accepting bribes and doing favors for some of the prisoners and had reported Sewell to the board.
Are you okay, Murph?
Which ended up leading to an investigation opening up on Sewell.
What the hell's going on, Murphy?
But if I'm remembering correctly, Frank was actually supposed to be the one heading the investigative team. So getting rid of Frank would mean the investigation would
Should've learned to
go
keep
to
your
someone
big
that's
fucking mouth shut,
in
Frank.
Sewell's pocket, and he's off clean.
Now my friend Murphy's got to shut it for you.
Murphy, don't do this.
Come on, Murphy, you gonna keep your end of the bargain or not? Do it, you son of a bitch!
No.
No.
You know, he was a great man, my dad. Didn't matter who you were. Family, friends, even prisoners. He treated everyone with respect. Always looking for the positive side of people. I wanted to be just like him.
You don't understand. Your father treated me like one of his own.
He didn't die right away, you know. After you were done beating the life out of him, he spent years in that wheelchair. A fucking vegetable. Did you know that? And I had to watch this wonderful man.
Now we're going to turn into the boogeyman, and we're going to have one last encounter with Anne, where we can either kill her or be killed by her. Either way the game ends. But if we defeat her, we get the choice of killing Anne or sparing Anne. Now the nice thing for the surprise ending is it doesn't matter. You can pick either, and you're going to get the surprise ending either way because you did the side quest.
I had to do to get you under my watch.
You don't have to do this.
My father was a
So let's see if we get a good pattern. She tends to want to move to the side, and if she does that, we're going to miss at least one strike. So hopefully we'll hit her and it'll just kind of stick her against the wall. Oh, no, she's going to move. Then he moved to the left. Yep. Did I miss? I missed. Oh no. You keep swinging too far out. Wow, that's a lot of time loss on probably the easiest part of the game. But you know what? Whatever. We're done. Time is coming up when we make our final decision. We're going to raise the hammer and the prompt will come up. And time. And that is a world record surprise ending run. Who would have thought? But here's the surprise ending. Enjoy it.
Such a shame. Here be monsters again. Here be monsters again. Surprise!
Oh, you guys.
Such a shame. Here be monsters again.
Alright, so there is Silent Hill Downpour surprise ending. With our lovely friend Pyramid Head coming back from Silent Hill 2 to cut our birthday cake for us. Man, what a nice guy. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this. Really cool that I actually managed to squeeze out a world record on this, but anyway, I'll see you all for the next one. Enjoy.